The market disruptor LETSHUOER, the IEM company, last year won the Best Bang for Buck award for the LETSHUOER S12, a planar IEM costing only $150. That was absolutely exceptional price to performance ratio. LETSHUOER are back with a Cadenza 12. This is on the absolute other end of the spectrum. This is a flagship IEM costing $2,300. Shall we take a look? Unboxing this flagship IEM feels like you're unboxing $2,300. This box is weighted faux leather. I wish it was real leather. It's beautifully latched, and as you lift the lid has serious weight and it just falls back and stays there. Well done, LETSHUOER. You've done remarkable here. Piece of paper with a logo on it. Thank you for that. And then here's the documentation, this booklet with some logos of LETSHUOER, obviously, and I think that's a pamphlet about the IEMs. Then we get this. This is a solid, I think it's steel. This sign is of the LETSHUOER logo, I believe, and I think you can use it as a stand for the IEM. I think this is amazing. If somebody really pisses you off, you could clobber someone to death with that thing. That's amazing. Very nice touch. Love it. Absolutely love it. And then we get the traveling case. It's weighted again, magnetic. And inside here we get a bunch of tips, and this is the cable plus some of these other doodads. So these are the IEMs themselves. The bore is quite small. There are 12 drivers in these units, 1 dynamic driver, 7 Signon drivers and 4 Anole. So basically it's 11 balanced armatures and 1 dynamic. Impedance for this unit I believe is 16 ohms and over 110 dB, 112 dB sensitivity, so they're very easy to drive, or you think. We're going to get onto that in the actual sound section, and this is the contour of the ear. This sits in there, and they are ultra comfortable. For a 12 driver IEM, these are very, very small, well designed, and they have been ultra comfortable. We will actually talk about how long they've been here and what they have gone through. Let's open some of these accessories. So we have a 2.5. These are interchangeable, like the Final Audio and the QDC Tigers. I'm so glad manufacturers are actually getting into this. This is fantastic, and I believe that one is balanced, yeah. And we don't need any of this, but these connections are interchangeable, and you no longer need to worry about single-ended cables or balanced cables now, because you got all of it. That's really cool. So this is the cable itself. Let's unwind it and see how it looks. It's nicely braided. It doesn't keep its shape. I mean, it's been spooled like that ever since it came in the box, obviously. I use my own flagship premium cables from Double Helix, and obviously these just get tested for 10 hours or so. That's a very nice cable. It's not bad at all. So balanced connection on that thing over here. This is what you change, I believe. And these are 2-pin. Very nice material. This bit is a little bit stiff and it's keeping its shape a little bit, but it's not too bad. I've seen much, much worse. But this cable is not too long. It's like that long. I think some people might actually want a slightly longer cable. And the V-split is really, really low, which is great. Nice cable, not bad at all. But honestly, you've got a $2,500 IEM almost. Some people might want their own cable, or you might even have some of your own cables. Accessories are solid. IEMs are tiny and beautiful. Let's talk about the sound. For the testing of the Cadenza 12, I've been using the Kern SE300 ladder DAC DAP. Thank you so much to Kern for sending this unit in for review. Next is my own Luxury and Precision P6 Pro. This is another resistor ladder DAC chipset in this DAP as well. And finally, thank you so much to Chord This is the Hugo 2 and To Go. This is a mobile station desktop setup, which is absolutely fantastic for the testing of this unit. On the other side of the spectrum, dongle territory. This is the Questyle M15, my favorite dongle of last year and this year. This is absolutely incredible. IFI Go Blu. This is for when I want to completely detach from the source itself. And this one, HF3. Thank you so much to Astel & Kern again for sending this dongle in for review with their SE300. So we have a variety of units here to test this unit. Some of the dongles which are below 500. I certainly hope the Astel & Kern HF3 is. I've not checked the price. Please check the description down below for the latest pricing. And then we have the super flagship, obviously Luxury and Precision P6 Pro. This is 4,000. This one, I believe, is 1850, which is absolutely freaking remarkable for what you get. Like, literally, it's shocking. And these two together is still £3,000. So, a flagship IEM with flagship equipment to drive it properly. And when time does not allow that, grab in a quick dongle. Shall we talk about how this unit actually sounds? These tiny little IEMs, Cadenza, have become somewhat of a daily driver for me. These have been here for nigh on 6 weeks now, almost. And because the Astel & Kern SE300 required break-in, it's a ladder DAC, it required 200 hours, these units have been what's been basically connected to that DAP, this one here, and have broken in for well over 200 hours. And I have found myself listening to the Cadenza 12 for 4 hours a day. Hardware-wise, I have never found my ear canal being fatigued. Isolation is very well done. I mean, look at the design of this unit. I'm going to take the tip off. The way the unit is structured is like a human ear. It's almost custom-like in its design. It's absolutely perfect. And I wish I could keep these genuinely, but obviously funds just do not allow right now. I do recommend a slightly open bore tip like these ones that comes with it because of the size of the bore. You don't want to impeach the bore. So talking about the sound characteristics of this IEM, this is a neutral dark IEM akin to the Atrium from ZMF or Diana V2. It's that sort of soundscape, slightly warm in the mid-range, slightly warm in the bass region. You do get some bass elevation in the mid-bass category, but it never impeaches on the mid-range, and then everything else about it is very linear. You got more of a dark mid-range sound, but you're not losing anything. It's one of the most comfortable IEMs I have experienced sonically. It's not quite detail retrieval on the levels of, for example, the QDC Tigers we reviewed. Check out the review here when you finished watching this review. Or for example, the Anole Vx. The category that LETSHUOER have entered is very, very busy and extraordinarily difficult to break into, because in this category, where this is beginning to reside now, you have the Ambient Acoustics Mad16, you have the Anole Vx from QDC, you have the QDC Tiger, you have the 64 U12T. The market is busy. So what does this do that makes it stand out? How does it compare to those, and how does it perform in its own characteristics? First of all, let's break down the frequency response. Starting with the bass region. Right, using a track like Lilith, which is my EDM track for this review and many others, just so that you guys get a consistent idea of how this is performing. Sub-bass is very, very controlled, very articulate, well textured, not overly inflated and not overly boosted either. It's very well, very tight, and honestly performs very, very cleanly. Mid-bass is punchy, dynamic, texturally rich, and quite forceful when it needs to for EDM. Then we have the mid-range, and everything from here upwards is like lean, mean, relaxing, and keen, and without being fatiguing. I love the mid-range on this. It's engaging, it's texturally rich, spatial presentation is good, detail retrieval is nice, and treble region, I find it a little bit laid back, which makes these very, very long wearing, very genre conducive, so you can actually put a variety of genres on this without it being difficult or fatiguing. You don't need to worry about classical music or EDM or anything like that. This will work with anything. These, for those people who just want one IEM that actually works with everything, it works very well. And I have found myself reaching for it more than anything else. And I have got like 16 IEMs on that desk over there, and the majority of them are flagships. So I am not short of IEMs here at CMA, and these have been absolutely divine. Let's do a showdown versus some of the others. The detail retrieval is not on par with the QDC Tigers or Anole Vx, but is good enough. Good enough that you get all textual information, all macro details, and all micro details. Absolutely no problem. The drivers are very resolving. The crossover has been done exponentially well, so that every part of the frequency response from mid-bass, sub-bass, mid-range, treble region blends together seamlessly without any deviation where you can hear the boundaries of the frequencies that it's breaking into. You've got 12 drivers in this thing and it's seamless. But detail retrieval is better on QDC Tiger. It's better on Anole Vx. Tuning, I think, is as good as Anole Vx, but it's a different type of tuning. That's tuned neutral bright. This is tuned neutral dark. Stage is not on the levels of Mad24 or Mad16, but Mad24 is 2 times the price, and Mad16 sits a couple of $100 above this. But Mad16 is a much bigger IEM with 4 more drivers, and fit is definitely more comfortable on the Cadenza, without a doubt. I genuinely think that crown king in this category of $2,000 to $3,000 is still Mad16 and Anole Vx. And honestly, this trails slightly behind, but it's an easier wear than the Mad16 because how tiny it is, but you get more technical performance in the Mad16. But as an overall performer, in regards to synergy, because the Mad16 as well as the Mad24 are very synergy dependent on the equipment you use, these are honestly, I think, one of my favorite IEMs this year I've heard. I love them to bits because they are so easily wearing. They just disappear. It's one of those IEMs where you can work all day and wear it without any problems whatsoever. What do I miss when I listen to this? Honestly, nothing. I think every aspect of this IEM is so good or good enough that I don't even think about other IEMs when it's in my ears, and I don't really want to change it because they just disappear. They just utterly disappear, and that neutral dark sound signature is so beautiful, so rich, so lush, so well detailed, nuanced. This is an exceptional IEM. From build quality, from fit and finish, from wearability, from accessories, and from sonic characteristics. Well done. This is outstanding. I'm genuinely impressed. Like the LETSHUOER S12, it's one of those IEMs you constantly reach for. So let's talk about how they synergize with equipment. This is the SE300. This is what I've been using exclusively over the last, I think, 4 weeks now. I don't think this thing's ever leaving CMA. I love this thing to bits. This is incredible. It's a Android-based streamer, DAP. It does everything. Just wait for the review. Genuinely, with this, it's punchy. The background is black as night, texturally rich, very dynamic, and superbly detailed in such a way that it's not in your face. But spatial presentation is wide. Images are nicely placed. It's not laser etched like, for example, the Anole Vx, but it's damn near good enough. Vocals are very present, very rich, very resolving, and sometimes honestly they kind of scare you because it pops out right there into the middle of the stage and you think, are the drivers making that sound? It's holographic. It's incredible. Using my luxury precision P6P, it's a little bit dusty. It's texturally rich, background is black as night. It's far more vivid than the SE300. I think the SE300 might be a tiny bit more punchy possibly, but stage is definitely better on the P6P. This is the best DAP I have ever heard out of anything, period, ever, of any price point up to now. This is basically a desktop setup like behind me. It's absolutely incredible. These two are quite similar tonally though. It's neutral dark, it's texturally rich, it's organic, and it's that sort of ladder sort of sound if you're used to R2R resistors. Finally, the Hugo 2 and To Go. This is the mobile station from Chord. On this one is more brighter. Separation is far more pronounced, and it's definitely a bigger depth and a bigger stage. The way Chord product stage is kind of insane. I'm genuinely impressed with that, but I don't use it as much as I use the SE300 because I think synergy between these two is just like match made in heaven. Be that as it may, how does it fare on the dongles though? I think the Astel & Kern HF3 is the best because it sounds like these two tonally. It's neutral dark again. Then Questyle M15. This is more like a serene. It's liquid, it's neutral. It's like a drop of water and it's absolutely great, but performance definitely suffers. This IEM scales up, and it scales up tremendously. I think the best performance genuinely has been this. This is the Astel & Kern. So much so that sometimes I just go to this and go, I don't want to carry a DAP. It's that good. With these LETSHUOER Cadenzas. So, conclusion, should you buy these? That is a very difficult question. Sonically, I think they're great. Do you want an overall IEM that does everything, that's well packaged, and you just want one IEM? I think you could get away with this and be more than happy. But if you want a detail monster, or you want a bass monster, or you want a stage monster, or if you just want a lot of monsters, or you just have a lot of monsters, basically a lot of IEMs, these either will make all of those redundant, or you'll hear them, put them in the drawer and never listen to them again. It depends on you. They are very expensive. They are in the mid-tier flagship category, $2,000 to $3,000. I think for me personally, I might reach out for them because of how much I've used it. I've got lots of IEMs here that are waiting to be reviewed. I listen to it for a bit, do the review, and I forget about it. And then like 3 months later, I go, oh yeah, I've got those. But these, every morning I've been reaching for these. Let's do the scores. Box and accessories, 5 tigers. It's probably the best accessories and the best box I've ever seen for an IEM in the flagship category. Up to now, personally, in CMA. Build quality, fit and finish, 4 tigers out of 5. I found one of the drivers is a little bit loose, but it might be the pins on the cable, so it's very difficult to tell. I'm not a great fan of the cable. I think I like my own cables. This is a little bit stiff and a little bit short, but I love the interchangeable connection. That is absolute genius. This is really good. I love that, and I like that you put caps on it so it doesn't get damaged. 4 tigers out of 5. Sonically, I genuinely will have to give these 5 tigers out of 5. And here's my reason why. Because it works with everything. Sounds good on anything. And if you are an Atrium owner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is an Atrium version of IEMs. I think LETSHUOER, like the S12, you have done something very special. This is exceptional work. I am very, very impressed. If you like reviews such as these, consider joining Patreon and get access to the private Telegram chat where I get to talk to you about all of these equipment as soon as they come and land here at CMA. If you can't do that, that's perfectly fine too. Your like, your share, your subscription is all we require. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. Until the next one. Peace.